information here. So any chord is a series of compound intervals. Okay, so that's one thing to establish. Some of the intervals can be consonant, some of the intervals can be dissonant. Now, harmony, of course, is when we say two notes. Harmony, if you look at this sheet of music, harmony is the vertical nature of music. The tones that sound together. Melody is the horizontal description of music, where you have a melody that is basically one note after the other. So anytime you have two notes sounding together, that's some form of harmony. Now in this case, this is dissonant harmony. Dissonant, consonant, 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 dissonant, consonant, 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 dissonant, dissonant, consonant. So your composers back in Bach's day were all about this interchange of consonants and dissonance. And in their ears, consonance was just a superb thing of beauty, and they even had religious connotations about it, and all of these different things. And even most of Bach's music had a religious element to it. So you've got to remember, this is 300 years ago and people thought differently. But because in today's music, we'll have a song that starts out dissonant, it's dissonant the whole way through and never gets consonant. And all points in between, all consonants, no consonants, so forth. But in Bach's day, that would have been pretty revolutionary. And it just didn't happen as far as what was recorded anyways. By recorded, I mean put down on paper, because obviously they didn't have technology. So anyways, this song here, I've got a little list of points here I want to make. The first four measures, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, and here they are in an abbreviated form. This is measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, and measure 4. I just don't have the repetitive parts of it. Basically what we got is this. And of course the song actually goes. Just as an aside here, this is a great little piece of music for the beginner to learn, because it basically repeats two chords. All the way up to the very end on page 3, it's chord, same chord, chord, same chord, chord, same chord. So one of the things it will teach you is that you can play the first notes, and you know that they're just going to be played again. So that will train you to be able to look ahead. So without abbreviating these four measures, here they are. Okay, so, and I'm not really showing off my piano skills here. I'm just trying to teach a lesson here. So, being as this measure is just basically this, I know it's going to repeat, so I can look ahead and see that my voices are going to move. I can anticipate what's being played. So these first four measures are what we call a cadence, and a cadence establishes a tonality. Now, how do you establish tonality? There's a very simple way of doing it, and that is just to simply play every note of the scale. And that's what he's done here. He's playing this chord, this chord, this chord, and then back to the C. Now you'll notice he plays C major, D minor, G major, and then back to C. Now there are sevenths introduced here, and I'm going to talk about those in just a second. But all of the notes, every note in the first four measure is just strictly within the C scale. I told you in the other video, if you play your 1, 4, and 5 chords, your 1, 4, and 5, that's what makes the scale. Well, the 4 chord, F, A, C, is only one note off from the 2 chord. So the 2 chord and the 4 chord are used very interchangeably. So this so-called chord progression, and when we have a progression, you know, we're starting somewhere, going around, and ending up somewhere else. In this case, we're just simply establishing the songs in the key of C. So we can play this 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and then back to the 1, or we can play the 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 5 chord, and then back to the 1. And that's what he's doing. So in these first 4 measures, he's playing every note of the C scale. So that's the establishment of the tonality. It starts off in this consonant chord, plays a couple of chords, comes back to it. So just by repetition, he is establishing the C major. Now, this song is all about chord progressions, and every measure is a different chord. This is a chord, this is a chord, this is a chord, this is a chord. Now, if you hear me play the notes all together, as opposed to that's what we call arpeggiating. Okay, so I'm playing the notes one after the notes of the chord, one after the other. So that's one little musical term that you can learn from this. The other is block chords. Okay, now this song is not played like this. But if you do that a few times, you'll quickly realize that this chord progression, this